Hello there and welcome back to the Agostino Zinga show with your host Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 903. That is 903 of the Agostino Zinga show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere in the depths of East London. How you doing? How you feeling, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing? How you feeling, ladies and gentlemen? How am I doing? Pretty good, all things considered. Pretty good, all things considered. I cannot complain. I truly cannot complain. Obviously, you guys know why I'm so excited. You guys know why I'm so happy. You must know why I'm so happy. You must know. And in case you don't know, United beat Atletico Bilbao 4-1 at home. 4-1 at home to secure our place in the final of the Europa League versus Spurs. I am so freaking happy. I was one of those fans, and I still will be one of those fans, who was very much in the camp of trophies aren't going to save the season. It's been an abysmal season. We're probably going to end up finishing 15th, 16th, 17th or something position in the league, which I think is deplorable. But one thing this Europa League run has done has provided us all, myself included, with a much needed distraction from our terrible league and domestic form. It's been quite nice to play in a competition where we don't look like we are second best. We don't look like we don't get bullied all the time. We look like we're a threat. Our players look like they enjoy themselves, and we sometimes score some goals. I'm not gonna lie. Even though this Europa League run is not gonna save the season, it doesn't make everything okay in terms of how we've been performing. It doesn't excuse Ineos's, haphazard, lackadaisical, whatever approach to saving this season, because part of me still needs answers as to why we pulled Amorim out of his deal at Sporting Lisbon mid-season to come to United, paid whatever the compensation fee was. I think it was 9 million or something like that to get him out of the deal for Sporting, only to bring him to the club and not allow him to sign the players that he needs to play the system that he likes to play. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you get somebody in mid-season if you're not going to give them all the tools that they need to succeed? I don't get that. So it seemed a bit hasty to kind of get him in, sack the previous manager, and I don't know, it was all over the place. But regardless of that, and there's a lot to be said for Amorim's inability to maybe get acquainted with the league, get up to speed with the league. Maybe he underestimated how hard the Premier League will be. Maybe we as United fans overestimate how good these players are. But either way, the league form, the league season has been pretty diabolical. But the Europa League has been a nice distraction. I'm not going to lie, and it's an even better reward at the end, because if we win the Europa League, we then get to play the Champions League next season. I personally don't want to see that, especially after seeing these semi-final second legs, or just the semi-finals in general. I think the level of the Champions League is very high, and we are nowhere near it, and I would hate us to go into that sort of competition without any hope of winning it, and also getting clapped by like smaller teams. It's not really going to do us a world of confidence, but the club needs it, the team needs it, you probably need it for transfers, so I guess it is what it is. But going back to this game, I think we started pretty poorly, which is understandable, because we already had a 3-goal lead because of the first leg. It was all on Athletic Bilbao to kind of put the game to us, which they did. They were out with some of their star players, notably the Williams brothers, who were both out, I think injured, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe one of them was suspended, I'm not really too sure. But they were missing a lot of firepower, but they still were able to put a lot of pressure on us, which is really concerning to see. But I wasn't too worried, because I knew the players in the back of their heads knew that we were up 3 goals, and it wasn't likely that they were going to score 2 goals without reply. So we would always be a little bit ahead. But I still wanted to see a good performance, because I think, a good performance in the second leg of a semi-final can really help the confidence going into the final, especially considering how poor we've been during the season. So when the goal went in the first half, it felt like a bit of a gut punch, but Athletic Bilbao also were, in control of the game at that point. They were the ones really trying to dictate things. They the one that had the lion's share of possession. So I wasn't too surprised when it happened. But I was hoping for a reaction in the second half. And boy, did we get a reaction in the second half. We scored 4 goals in the second half. That was a fucking big reaction, and the game completely changed, in my personal opinion. It completely flips on its head the moment Amad Diallo came onto that pitch. Amad Diallo, and maybe to a lesser extent the introduction of Mason Mount, really, I think, changed the game. But Amad Diallo, man, every time I see that kid play football, every time I see Amad Diallo get on the ball, the first thing I think about is Erik ten Hag. The first thing I think about when I see Amad Diallo get on the ball is that bald fraud. That bald flipping fraud of a manager. And why do I think that? Because there was a time when Erik ten Hag was at the club where he was seriously considering selling Amad Diallo. He was going to sell him. And he's legitimately one of our best players. He's literally our savior. He's probably more important to us as a team than Bruno Fernandes, because he gives us a bit of X factor. He's that little bit of quality. He's got that burst of pace. He's got that acceleration, that tenacity, the dribbling speed, the ability to fucking shoot with both feet. Like, he's just a threat every time he gets the ball, and the quality that he has is just, oh, it's incredible. Really fucking good to see him back from injury, and obviously getting a few more minutes. Maybe this means in the final he starts, I'm not too sure. Maybe bringing him on for the bench might be a good option too, to have a little bit of firepower if we're struggling to score a goal. But he was really flipping good, and he completely turned the tide of the game for us. And you have to give a special shout out to Mason Mount. Mason Mount needs to get a special shout out because he's had a pretty terrible time at United. He had a pretty terrible time towards the end, tail end of his time at Chelsea anyway. But he's been pretty lackadaisical, pretty shit. Pretty underwhelming, and definitely somebody that a lot of fans, myself included, have been wondering why we wasted so much money on a player like Mason Mount, and also wondering how we're going to get rid of a player like Mason Mount, because English players, when you buy them for that amount, you essentially kind of doom yourself to having them at your club for years and years and years. It's really difficult to sell an English player of his sort of, you know, transfer fee level to another club. You know what I mean? No one's going to take those wages, so you kind of have to just make it work. But from the moment Amorim came into the club, he's always said Mason Mount's his guy. For whatever reason, Ruben Amorim saw something in training. Maybe it's his attitude. Maybe it's what he said to him. I don't know what it is. But for whatever reason, Ruben Amorim has always had a lot of faith in that Mason Mount. He's always came out in press conferences and spoken very confidently about Mason Mount and about how important he is to the club, how important he is to his squad, which confused me, to be honest. But Mason Mount paid him back in full. He paid him back in full, because that was one of the best performances, best cameos I've seen from Mason Mount ever since he signed for the club. Because usually when he comes and plays, when he comes in, you know, when he comes off on the bench for us, the first thing he does is foul. For whatever reason, the first thing he does when he comes on the pitch for us is foul somebody. But this particular time when he came on the pitch, he was buzzing around, picking up the ball, little 1-2s in the pocket, running off the ball, receiving the ball in nice little areas of space where he could kind of affect the game and kind of break the lines and feed the balls in. And then when his goal came, that reminded me of like the goal Maino scored, a goal that Federico Makeda scored back in the day. I think Danny Welbeck scored a goal like that as well back in the day. United players love a good, like, you know, little Cruyff turn flick and a bend in the bottom corner. I'm not sure why, but us players obviously from my club love that finish. And that finish from Mason Mount, that was pure muscle memory, being able to finish that, because I'm sure I've seen him also shoot like that and have that particular kind of skill playing for Chelsea too. So that was incredible to see. And it's really, really cool how quickly or how instant a goal can change a player's confidence. Because in my personal opinion, I thought when he came on, he looked pretty good. He didn't, like I said, he didn't foul anybody, and he was picking up the ball in space, commanding the ball, asking for the ball in all these places around the pitch, really trying to make his presence felt. But as soon as Mason Mount scored that first goal, he completely changed as a player. He was on fire. Like, he was buzzing all over the place. He had the confidence to do certain flicks. I think there was a certain counter-attack that he kind of backheeled it out to the wings again. Like, he looked like he was on fire. So it really does go to show you that goals can really completely change a player's kind of, you know, approach to a game. So that was incredible to see. I really enjoyed Casemiro's header as well, even though it came off his shoulder. It's great how much of an aerial threat he is for us on free kicks. Rasmus Højlund, I was really happy that he got that goal. I think I tweeted before he had that goal that a perfect performance for us would be if Rasmus gets on the score sheet too, to kind of give him some confidence as well going into the final. And The Rasmus Højlund goal, to be fair, represents to me one of the big problems playing for United, because I don't feel like, as bad as Rasmus Højlund has been, maybe as underwhelming as, you know, Zerski has been even going up front. You know, all our strikers have been pretty shit this season. As bad as our strikers have been this season, you have to be honest. A lot of our strikers don't really get that kind of service. They match, you know, game by game. They don't really get it. That sort of service where the ball just gets crossed, you know, into the box where you can kind of tap it in as a striker. They don't get those kind of chances. So whenever people criticize Højlund, I think to myself, it's not as if he's missing clear-cut chances every game. Maybe some of his hold-up plays isn't the best. Maybe he's not kind of, you know, making his presence felt on the pitch. But I don't feel like as a striker, he's really missing, even Zerski, they're missing a lot of clear-cut chances. If anything, both strikers are missing the chances where they have to kind of drop a shoulder, they have to skip past two defenders and then smash it, and they maybe kick it right into the fucking keeper's hands or something. That's obviously, you know, still not ideal, but it isn't the kind of chance that Højlund got, that he scored from. And I wish our strikers got more of that kind of service, because I think we'll see a different kind of side of them. Regardless, he put the ball in the net. That was the most important thing. And obviously, the celebration with Amad Diallo with the smartphone was fucking sick. But the goal at the end from Mason Mount, again, look what a goal can do for the confidence of a player. Because I don't think Mason Mount prior to this game would have had the confidence to have gone for that fucking lob from the halfway line or near the halfway of the pitch. He wouldn't have done that. He would have probably tried to pass it inside and go to somebody else. But the fact that he already has scored a goal, he was doing a couple of fix and tricks, he was making himself known on the pitch, he was getting the position, blah, 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 blah. He probably felt a lot of confidence and decided to go for it. And he expertly drilled it into the goal, which you don't really see them too often. Usually those type of goals, they float the ball over the goalkeeper and defenders. But this one, he kind of went for a drill technique with his left foot, if I'm not mistaken. And it nestled into the net, and we ended up winning the game 4-1. So it started off pretty shaky. Bilbao were dominating large spells of that first half. The goal that they got in the first half was not against a run of play. They were really dominating us, I think, for the majority of the first half. And that goal was really good. Even though I was annoyed at Onana for not being able to save it, I thought that goal from, what's his name, Jurizaj, was incredible. Almost like curled it, basically top bins from like 30 yards. Crazy goal. I wasn't too happy about Maguire giving away the ball, but again, I felt the pressure they put on us. It was about time that they were going to score a goal. But we responded amazingly well in the second half. 4 goals without reply, and then it comfortably put us into the finals of the Europa League, which I'm really looking forward to. And like I said, the Europa League is not going to erase or fix this season. This season has been horrible. 16th in the league, not acceptable. But it's going to go a long way to kind of distract us from how poor the season has been, and hopefully give the players some confidence heading into the next season, you know. But there's still a lot of gaps needed, you know, to kind of sort out in a team and things to do. But for now, looking forward to a league final, or sorry, a European League final, or European Cup final, sorry, and a chance to win a trophy, and a chance to just finish the season on a bit of a high after this disastrous league season. So really happy with the performance, really happy for the lads. Can't wait for the final. It's going to be a tough one against Spurs, because they beat us, I think, a couple of times this season already. They seem to have a little bit of the hoodoo over us, so it's not going to be an easy game. And as I said previously, we've shone in the Europa League, because European football is way slower. It's not as physical as the Premier League. And we've obviously struggled in the Premier League against sides like Tottenham, who can kind of press, and they've got the physicality, because our players don't really sort of have that, you know, don't know how to deal with that sort of thing. So it's going to be an interesting test for us. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a very, very difficult game. It's going to be a close game, and I'm really looking forward to it. So big up Blood Clot United. In other very surprising news, this just came across my timeline, and I was flabbergasted. But it also made me think about something I spoke about previously on the pod. So this is courtesy of Fold London, you know, the #1 nightclub here in London that I've been championing and talking about ad nauseum since it opened. They have a long-standing and very successful in-house club night called Unfold. They do on every Sunday. It runs usually from 12 to 12. and it basically promotes a lot of like, you know, residents and local people and collectives and stuff to play. They'd never post a lineup online, and it's just a surprise kind of carousel of a mix of local residents, you know, maybe DJs that are popping in that want to play on a Sunday and all that malarkey. And it's usually a good vibe. I've personally never been, but everyone says it's absolutely amazing. A lot of people that go to Fold say that Unfold is maybe the best night that they do. That's also including all the other nights that they do on the Friday and the Saturday. Well, according to Fold, the recent Unfold coming up might be the last one, which is an interesting development. I never saw this coming. So this is courtesy of Fold London. The caption reads, "It's time to bring this era of Unfold to a close. This Sunday at 2 p.m, we will open our doors to Unfold for the final time in its current form. As always, the lineup for our 99th edition is unannounced. Tickets are only available on the door. Entrance is not guaranteed and is at the sole discretion of our entrance team, dressed to sweat." So when they say it's the last one in its current form, do they mean this is the last one they do on a Sunday? A last one that they do how they do them usually? Or is it the last one ever at Fold? And why do I say that? Because I was speaking earlier about that series called Mobland that's just got released that stars Tom Hardy. It's a pretty shitty series, I'm not gonna lie. I have watched it. It's got it's got Pierce Brosnan in it. It's got a few other people. It's got a guy from House of Dragon in it as well. The king that kind of dies from the from that disease or whatever he gets and shit. And it's not the greatest series. It's like a mob drama. But in that Mobs TV series, whatever, that London Mobs TV series, there's a scene where they're partying in Fold. And as I was researching a little bit about it, I found an article that said that in season 2, they have to find a new club location to film in because allegedly Fold ain't going to be around. So just for the process of watching that TV series, I found out, oh shit, allegedly Fold might not be around for the next season of Mobland. Now, does that mean Fold might not be around next year? Or does that not mean it might not be around in a couple of years? But something along the lines of, in that article, they said there's some sort of development happening within the area of Fold that might lead to it closing. So they will have to find a new place to film the club scene. So I'm now wondering, does that have anything to do with Unfold ending in its current form? Or is this just, you know, Fold being a little bit cheeky and doing a little bit of clickbait to get people, like, you know, excited to go to the last one, quote unquote, but it's not really the last one. And what they might do is, like, you know, change it up, maybe put Fold in another building or something. I don't know. But really unfortunate news if it is the last one. I don't think it is. They're very, you know, particular in the language that they're using by saying in its current form. So my hypothesis, my theory would be that most likely, however they do Unfold, again, I've never been, but however they do it, they're going to change it up for the 100th one coming up. There's no way they're going to do an Unfold and get to 99 and not do 100. You know what I mean? This doesn't make any sense. You want to, if you're going to end a series of a party, you want to at least end it, you know, on 100. Well, you know, you got one more to go. So most likely they might mix it up. Maybe off the top of my head, maybe there's a solution where they try to do Unfold in another building, because I'm not too sure if Fold owned the entirety of that building on that corner of that road. Maybe there's a solution where they have Unfold hosted in the back of Fold and not in the main space or something. That might be something that might happen. Maybe it happens in another room. I don't really know. But I'm curious to see what's going to go on. But if you are a big fan of Unfold, I recommend you go and check them out this Sunday. Because as Fold have said, it's the last iteration of Unfold in its current form. Doesn't mean it's ending forever. It does mean it's the last time you're going to see it in its current form. So definitely go check it out, because from a lot of people I've heard, it's definitely one of the best nights that they have out there. I've just been a little bit too much of a, you know, goody two shoes Christian boy, because I'm so used to Sundays being a day of rest and shit that my brain can't go into rave mode. And obviously most of the time that Fold has been, you know, Unfold has been successful and been popping, I've also had a job, so which is required me to go in on a Monday. And the last thing I want, you know, it's already bad enough and hard enough nowadays to go out on a Friday and still be hungover on the Saturday and maybe some of the Sunday. I can't imagine going out on the Sunday, getting on it, and then having to go work on a Monday. I would absolutely die. So that's why I've kind of avoided it. And to be completely honest too, being a contrarian I am, everyone talks about it, everyone sucks it off, everyone goes. I just don't go, you know, just because everyone goes to it. So I just try to, like, you know, allow it, because I already spent too much time in that fucking place. Last thing I need to do Last thing I need to do is be there from like Friday to Sunday, you know? That's a little bit too much glazing. That's a little bit too much cock sucking. That's a little bit too much cock holstering for me to be in one club from Friday to the Sunday. But from what I've heard between the, you know, on the social medias, reading all over the place, people are saying it's fucking amazing. So definitely go check it out in its current form for the final time this Sunday, the 99th edition of Unfold, happening over there at Fold. Give it a try. Give it a try. In other news, which is kind of sad news actually, courtesy of RA, that really cool little record store in Berlin called Sound Metaphors is unfortunately closing next month. So even places like Berlin, where, you know, it's essentially a city built on the back of fucking techno, club scene is amazing over there. They still have the same issue we have here in London, where stores, record stores, clubs, listening bars, all that malarkey are still at the threat of closing, still have their leases or whatever else not extended and shit, even though they contribute a lot to the local scene, local economy, and blah de blah blah blah. It's really, really unfortunate. So this is courtesy of RA. It says the popular shop and treasured for its curation and deep crates in obscure dance music can't extend its lease. Sound Metaphors, located in the city of Kreuzberg neighborhood, will close its doors on June 30th for this year. The shop revealed via social media today, May 9th, unable to extend its current rental contract. The 10-year-old store said it hopes to find another home in Berlin. People use decades for classifying contemporary music styles, periods in fashion and design, but sadly a decade is also a standard rental period for a commercial contract in Berlin. The landlord aren't interested in extended versions of tenancy, especially not the faceless ones headquartered in Luxembourg type. We are sure we'll find new shapes and forms for sharing our obsession with the physical world, hopefully in Berlin in its current retail landscape so permits. If the current real estate landscape permits. The intimate space, which hosts events and features regular DJ programming, is run by a label and DJ during the same name. The shop first opened in 2015. Since then, has consistently been ranked one of the world's best record stores for one-of-a-kind collection, home to dance music, jazz, funk, dub, range of hybrid genres. It's frequently by DJs and artists of all musical backgrounds. Imagine that fucking history in it, and it's just gone, you know? It's just fucking gone. It's so wild how these things work, innit? Like, you have to enjoy these spaces while you can, if you've got the option to, because you really don't know how long they're gonna last. Like, so fundamental, such a key staple of that scene. Everyone goes there to get their records, buy their merch, hang out. There's a cool little series here that was filmed that I watched before, featuring one of my favorites, Christian AB and Ryan Elliott, in fucking Sound Metaphors, chilling, running through records and shit, recommending whatever things to each other. I've been in there a couple of times myself when I've been over there. It's just a real shame that we're losing it. Real shame that we're losing it. And it's going to close very soon, actually. Next month it's already gone. So make sure you get yourself down there if you're a fan of record stores over there in Berlin. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about Yeezy. More fucking drama. So I remember mentioning that before the Yeezy store closed, I was really gutted because I couldn't get a pair of these like hiking, I guess mountain boots, construction boots, whatever they're called. They kind of remind me of 424 boots. Essentially, it's like a lace up boot, really kind of heavy duty, but it doesn't have any laces on it. It's completely laceless, but it's kind of made in the style of a regular boot, a regular kind of army boot. And it looked really cool. The design of it looked really cool personally for me. Especially since I've been, I'm a fan of the Yeezy aesthetic anyway when it comes to footwear. And since, Ye kind of fell out unceremoniously with fucking Adidas, we haven't had the ability or the option to be able to buy any more of his fucking trainers or his shoes. So when these shoes came about, I was really excited to get a pair. Unfortunately, I didn't jump on them early enough and they disappeared once the Yeezy store went down because was on these little Hitler thing and Shopify decided to cancel his shop. No, I think that's what happened. I think he put the swastika t-shirt up on his Yeezy online store and Shopify closed the store and he hasn't been able to open another one since. So I wasn't able to get a pair of those boots. Well, it seems like I might have dodged the bullet. Because according to Stay Grounded, there's huge delays over this boot that I wanted, which is called the Yeezy SL03. And some people are saying it doesn't actually even exist. So some people are now saying that it might have been a scam. It might have been a ruse to just run up the P's on a shoe that doesn't exist. Now, I don't think it was a scam in terms of like Ye doing it to scam people out of their money. I think what Ye probably done was what a lot of brands do nowadays, or clothing companies, where they'll, you know, they might make a sample, or they might make a small run of a particular item, and they'll sell it on like a pre-order system. They won't tell you though. That's what I don't like. They don't tell you that. So they'll put something up for sale. Oh, here's this amazing hat. Here's this great jacket that I've designed. You go and buy it, but then what you're buying is the pre-order. Then once they get all the money for those pre-orders of that jacket, the hat, the shoes, they'll then put it into manufacturing or get them produced or whatever. And then you have to wait. You have to wait for them to basically be manufactured or produced for you to then get a pair. But they're not actually ready to go right now. So that's what I think probably happened. And I'd imagine when the store got closed down, it probably fucked up a lot of the, you know, process of what was going on. So all those things kind of combined. Because I don't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't necessarily think Ye would, especially at this point, be scamming people out of shoes. But it's a real shame because I think it's one of the most interesting shapes that he's put out in a while. And I was really looking forward to getting the pair. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're going to be available. So as you can see here, that was the Yeezy SL03. People are selling it on StockX, but I don't know how, because it doesn't even exist. But the great thing about this, on the store, Ye was selling it for like $30, no, $20, sorry, because everything on the Yeezy store was $20 each. But now people are reselling that particular boot for $300, which doesn't exist, by the way. But I do like the shape and the silhouette of it. But I'm just looking at it now, this completely vulcanized, rubberized boot. I wonder if you could you even realistically produce something like this for $20 anyway? Would that be even possible? Because it looks really fucking good. Maybe because I'm a bit of a stickler for boots and shit. I love a good black boot. But the shape of it, the height of it, it looks pretty robust. I don't know if it is completely waterproof because there's no like exposed seams there. Everything looks like it's been taped. It just looked really fucking good, really versatile. But unfortunately, there's going to be huge delays on them. The next slide here says, this is courtesy of the Yeezy subreddit. Somebody posted on there and said they ordered an SL03, which is the boot I mentioned, on Feb 10th, but they got the slip-on shoe instead. So a lot of people that ordered the boot that I wanted are now getting the slip-on trainer instead and not the boot. This trainer is still quite nice. I think that's the SL01, but it's not the boot that you wanted. Somebody else posted and said, this is everyone's experience. No one has gotten the boots, and the rumor is they were never even produced to begin with. Another person said, order the SL03. Look what came in. Yeah, we got scammed. Okay, cool. That is a bit of a scam. If you order the boots and the first thing you get is the slippers or the slipper trainer things, you're going to be a little bit pissed off. But I've heard people say they're really comfortable though. These are slipper trainer things. The SL03 doesn't exist, somebody else says. Another one person say they got the SL03, got delivered, but it's the SL01. Ye and his team are a bunch of scammers. Y'all think we're going to get the SL03 or GTA 6 first? I cancelled all my SL01, 2, 3 before I got scammed. I'm with everyone else on this. I don't think he ever produced the SL03. The worst thing is that no one who interviews Ye dares to ask him about the delays. These poorly delivered items. Gotcha. So, and that's the only image that we have of the boots when Ye was on the red carpet for, I think, the Grammys, when Bianca Censori had that naked outfit. So, personally, although it feels like it's a scam, I would veer on the side of I don't think it's a scam. I don't think Ye is scamming his fans. I just think it was a case of the timing was bad, because when he launched the shoes or the boots straight after the whole swastika debacle happened, and then the Yeezy store had to close. So I'm assuming that probably added to the delays. But I'm sure somewhere down the line, the boots will get made. I have a feeling they will get made. I have a feeling. Maybe I'm just remaining hopeful because I'm a bit of a Yeezy stan and I'm just a Yeezy apologist. But I have a feeling they will be produced. But they just haven't been produced just yet because of all the drama that's been happening with the Shopify. And clearly, Ye is also very distracted, isn't it? When's the last time we've seen Ye design anything, you know? He's been hanging around with Sneaker and making fucking How Hitler songs and shit. He hasn't really been focused on making any clothes. I don't think I've seen him in a design studio. The last time I saw him making clothes or like looking like he was making clothes when he was hanging out with Jim Jones. And look at how that ended. So he's been a bit distracted. So maybe that might be the reason why. Maybe if this goes viral, he might see this stuff and react to it, respond to it. Let's hope and pray. Let's hope and pray, because I would really like the shoe. If possible, I would really like the shoe. In other Yeezy news, courtesy of academics, Ye's actually sent Kim Kardashian a cease and desist regarding Northwest, and just in general regarding the situation of him not being able to see his kids, which is really crazy. So academics TV decided to post one of these letters here that was sent courtesy of Ye to Kim Kardashian, which I'm going to read for you here, because this is more drama involving Ye and his kids that, you know, really has nothing to do with us in the public, but hey, it's news, so let's talk about it regardless. So this is courtesy of Ye's team. It says JB Law Firm, and if I zoom in here, it says, we represent Kanye West and Mrs. Bianca Censori in family law matters concerning welfare and custody of Mr. West's minor children, Northwest, St. West, Chicago West, and Psalm West. The letter constitutes a formal demand to cease and desist from the actions that violate Mr. West's parental rights, exploit his children, and breach the joint custody agreement established in the client's divorce settlement. Number one, unauthorized exposure of Northwest. On or about in May 5th, our client brought Northwest to the Met Gala in New York City. Your client, sorry, brought Northwest to the Met Gala in New York City, exposing us to significant media attention. Reports indicate that Northwest was left unattended in the vehicle during the portions of the event, posing risks for her safety. Additionally, your clients has published or authorized publication of Northwest images and videos on social media platforms, including TikTok, despite Mr. West's explicit objections to his children's presence on such platforms. Denial of custodial access. Despite the joint legal and physical custody arrangement, Mr. West has been denied meaningful access to his children. Notably, he has not had any contact with his son, St. West, in 2025. Damn, and it's May already. So yeah, hasn't seen St. West in 5 months. Okay. His interactions with North, Chicago, and Psalm have been unreasonably restricted. This violates the custody agreement's provisions for equal parental access and decision making. That sounds a bit dodgy, though, to be fair. So he hasn't seen St. West in 2025, but Ye has seen the other kids, North, Chicago, and Psalm. That makes me feel like St. West doesn't want to see his dad, you know? If he's the one kid that hasn't seen his dad, that makes it seem like he's the one not wanting to see his dad, because the rest of them have, in some capacity, even if it was supervised. Number 3, exploitation without consent. Your client use of Northwest's public events and online content appears to exploit her likeness for personal and commercial gain without Miss West's approval, I'm assuming that's going to say. Next slide. This disregards our joint custodial rights and his stand as stated in opposition to the children's public exposure. Financial custodial context. Mr. West fulfills his child support obligations, paying $200,000 per month for child support. Your client is directed to comply with the following demands by May 23rd. Cease publishing or authorizing the publication of any images or videos of the kids. Refrain from involving Northwest in any of Mr. West's children in public events, such as the Met Gala. 3, facilitate the unimpeded access of Mr. West to his children, including immediate in-person visitation. And 4, remove all existing social media content featuring Mr. West's children that was posted without his consent. This is messy, man. Again, none of my business, because this is like family matter shit. But as much as I would love to believe a lot of this, and I'm sure there is some truth to what Ye is saying, I just think in these sort of situations, especially when you're the guy and you're dealing with a mum, you're never going to win when you start to take it this way in public, you know? You're probably better off just trying to deal with it privately behind the scenes, especially if you're paying child support and you're doing what you need to do to kind of, you know, abide by the rules or whatever it may be. You should probably just make sure you get this stuff done in writing and through the courts without, you know, putting it out there in the public and engaging in a kind of back and forth on social. Which kind of is done, you know, he's kind of weaponized social media to kind of use it to his advantage. But to be fair to Ye, he can maybe say that he is left in no other position to do that because he's tried to go about it the right way, and they haven't really been receptive to him and his demands, which is understandable too, considering, you know, the things he's been saying online has been going on. But like I've said, considering the things that Ye's been doing and saying online recently, you know, I wonder if he actually did try and press it really hard, if he would probably lose all of his, you know, parental rights and shit to the kids if he really tried to push for some level of custody through the courts. Because if they really went to analyze and try and ascertain what his mental state was, would they think he was fit and proper to look after his kids anyway? I'm not too sure, you know. So it's a bit of a delicate situation. If he tries to deal with Kim and the family, you know, Kardashians directly, they might hold him by the balls because they know he's doing it because if he tries to go to the courts, he's not going to win. So they might kind of, you know, take the piss out of him. But then if he tries to go through the court of public opinion, there's also the harm that he might make the situation far worse, because all they need to do is just, you know, document all of the crash outs, document all the things he said negatively about, you know, Kim's mom, about the family in general. And it's, you know, it's not going to help his case when it comes to having more time to hang out with his kids. But it's a weird situation. It's a strange one all around. It's not really good court to see, especially when there's like 4 kids involved. They kind of getting pulled from one position to the other position, all in public. It's a little bit messy. I mean, it's a little bit messy, but we hope and pray that they figure it out in some regard. We really do hope and pray they can figure it out in some freaking regard. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about JJJJound. Big up Blood Clot JJJJound. JJJJound have leaked a very sneak peek of an up and coming ASICS shoe that they've got in the works. I'm not too sure if this is the final iteration, if this is a sample, but regardless of what it is, it's absolutely gorgeous. The caption says, JJJJJ, ASICS Spring Summer 2025. So they're due to come out very soon, because we're in Spring Summer 2025 right now, but there's no concrete date. And from what I can see here, they look like essentially for me, they look like an Air Max runner. If anything, they kind of remind me of like a Nike Air Max TL, kind of have vibes of a Nike Air Max 98, but they're very Nike Air Max-ish looking wise. The midsole, you've got this really cool cushioning system, I'm assuming, that kind of looks like a bubble, but it's not. You've got these nice jagged blocks there, completely white, and obviously the little blocks are in kind of this yellow, off-white, piss white sort of color. The upper is made out of this, it looks like a mesh, isn't it? It's a really interesting mesh construction on the upper. It almost looks like it's been like printed 3D, but it's not. And I also like the different hues of white they have. So the back heel counter looks like it's been done in this like off-white sail type of material. And then the leather on the front that also kind of carries on to around the lace stay, sorry, has been done in this really pearly white sort of color. So I'm assuming if you wear these in, or just generally wearing them, you're going to get these nice little hues and shades pop off in the sun when you're wearing them. But I really like the shape. I like that they've taken like, it kind of feels like they've taken an Air Max 98 or TL, like I mentioned, and just stripped it back. They've taken away all the glitz and glamour. They've taken away all the 3M, all the yarn, all the kind of colorful yarn and weave and shit that Air Maxes have and whatever, and just stripped it back to basics. And you got this really nice base white color. Hopefully it comes in other colors too. Knowing JJJJound, they'll probably make a all white color, an all white version, an all black version, and maybe a gray version. But so far, this version I've seen so far, it looks incredible. Again, I'm not too sure if this is a retro, this particular version of this ASICS. I'm not sure if it's a retro, if it's their own model that they've made from the ground up. But it is gorgeous, man. It's so fucking good. The only thing I don't like about it too much is the lace design, where the lace stays are. I don't really like this system where it kind of got these hoops. I would prefer it to have, like, you know, regular circle eyelets here to kind of pierce the laces through, because then it makes the laces kind of sit up front on the lace stay area, and it kind of gives it another unnecessary kind of surface and kind of lump here. I'd much rather it be a little bit more sleek and smooth at the top of the tongue. But overall, really, really nice shoe. I'm hoping to get more details on it very, very soon. I'm assuming it'll be limited. But I also like the fact that, you know, it's not a Nike, it's an ASICS. They've taken an ASICS, kind of developed it, or kind of stripped away some of the Air Max's, you know, sensibilities, and kind of put down an ASICS. Or maybe this shoe was actually designed before an Air Max. You never know, because I keep saying it's an Air Max TL 98 hybrid thing, but maybe this was actually designed before an Air Max. You never fucking know. Either way, hopefully more news releases soon about it, and we also hear about, you know, other colorways. I'm assuming they're going to be an all black pair very, very soon. But either way, they look fucking brilliant. I love them. Very, very nice shoe. Hopefully they drop very, very, very soon. Continuing on, we've also got news courtesy of Hypebeast regarding another pair of Air Maxes due to be dropping very, very soon. These are meant to be dropping next year. Whoa, not soon. Jesus, next year. God damn, you're talking about them now. So these are dropping in spring 2026, allegedly, according to Hypebeast. These are the Grape Air Max 95s with the big air bubble. So I'm not too sure if this is an actual stock image from Nike, is it? Yeah, it is actually a stock image from Nike. So this actually might be the retail pair we're getting. The whole big air bubble thing, I haven't seen them in person myself. I'm still yet to get a pair of the Neon 95s, but when I do get them, I'll probably do an in-depth review. But so far, from the pictures that I've seen, I don't think this whole like big air bubble thing that they were talking about for the retro of the Air Max 95 to kind of celebrate, I think, the 35th anniversary of the shoe or whatever, I don't think it kind of popped the way it meant to pop. Because from what I can notice doing my, you know, research and shit, the bubbles don't really look that big. If anything, what they looks like they've done, because I've had a few 95s over the years, it feels like they've just kind of stripped away some of the midsole covering, cushioning that goes around the air bubble to expose most of it or more of it. But it doesn't feel like the bubble's actually bigger. Like, because that's the whole point. The whole point of making the bubble bigger was to kind of harken back to the days when the Air Max 95 first came out. And the bubble was, you know, stupidly big and it used to pop out or kind of, you know, extrude out from the sides. But over time, when people started to wear them, the bubbles would burst. I remember my older brother had a pair and his one burst a few times. So they had to then reduce the PSI in the air bubble to make them less prone to popping. And then if I'm not mistaken, in some of the later retros, they also had a lot more encasing around the bubble. So this midsole area would cover more of it, so it wouldn't kind of burst. But then obviously you'd lose a lot of the style and a lot of the aggressive look of it because the bubbles weren't as like gigantic and shit. But allegedly, like I said, they've made it bigger, but I don't think they're that big. If anything, I think they might have exposed, like I said, more material, because I think I've got mine 95s. This bit here, the bottom of this bubble, this black little shadow is where the white bit of the midsole would be covering it. So it feels like they just kind of stripped it back and exposed a little bit more of the bubble, but it's not actually a bigger bubble, because in previous 95s from, you know, vintage ones from back in the day that released in 1995, this bubble would be really kind of extruding out here. You'd see it kind of popping out. I mean, like a fucking shelf, a nice little bubble butt there, but unfortunately we don't have that. But regardless, the Grape colorway is a classic. So I'm sure when these bad boys do eventually drop, they're gonna fucking sell out. You can't go wrong with that Grape colorway anyway. All majority of it white, some silver accents here and there. I love that the top actually gray bit is actually suede and it's not 3M. And then you got some purple hits, of course, there to make up with all the with all the Grape stuff going on over there as well. Kind of remind me of the exact colorway they have with the Jordan 5 too. Has got a similar Grape colorways that are going on, and you got this nice blue color as well featured on the tongue with the split there as well. So a beautiful shoe, but unfortunately for me, this, you know, bigger air bubble thing, I think has been a bit of a gimmick. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't really feel like our bubble's that much bigger than what it was in the past, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Big up Blood Clot ASAP Nast as well. ASAP Nast from ASAP Mob has released a collaboration with Comme des Garçons for a new little capsule collection that he's putting together, which is really cool. I'm a fan of his more so for the rapping music side of things. It's a shame that he kind of quit it, but it's also kind of cool to see that he made the pivot to be an influencer and to be all about clothes and shit, and it's worked out well for him in a really big way. He gets invited to all the big shows, and he's obviously got his own thing going on here where he works with Dover Street, works with Comme des Garçons, putting together collections, appearing at loads of little pop-up events and blah 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 blah. And this endorsement is really fucking cool. To do a little capture collection from Comme des Garçons must be absolutely incredible too. So big up fucking ASAP Nast. Featured so far, from what I can see here in the lookbook, you've got a nice little sweater, it looks like. I think that might be a sweater or a cardigan that's got Nasty on the back, written in like a little graph font, which I'm sure he probably did himself. You've got a cardigan here that says COMME. I'm not sure what that says here on the front, but it's got some writing on there with some nice white pearly buttons. You've also got a nice button-up shirt which kind of put, I'm not sure if this is a Comme des Garçons shirt or Comme des Garçons mainline, but regardless, oh yeah, it's Comme des Garçons shirt. Yep. So you're gonna have a lot of these long sleeve button ups, which again I think are really underrated. I'm not sure why a lot of people don't wear Comme des Garçons shirt button ups anymore, but they're usually a nice cut. They usually come in really nice little graphics and stuff and colors. I really, and obviously they're really kind of versatile. You can wear them smart, you can wear them with streetwear type of bits and bobs. So I'd like what he's done here. For ASAP Nast's particular version of the Comme des Garçons shirt, he's opted to go for this screen print design that looks like beaded chains and some sort of N logo. It looks like, I think that's what it looks like around the neck. So you got like a beaded chain design there going around the neck. Oh yeah, there you got it. So it's kind of taking inspiration from ASAP Nast's own chain that he has that's got the N there. So he's got that done on the shirt as well, which looks fucking pretty cool. So I'm sure this will do really well. Unfortunately, the Comme des Garçons shirt stuff is really expensive, so this ain't gonna be cheap. The shirt's probably gonna run, I'm assuming, maybe like $5 or something. But regardless, it's a really cool collaboration. Let's read some of the blurb here. The collaboration between Comme des Garçons and ASAP Nast is highly anticipated, meeting avant-garde Japanese design and Harlem-born rappers' distinct streetwear sensibilities. This capsule collection marks a significant moment as ASAP Nast is the first musician to collaborate directly with Comme des Garçons shirt line and customize existing design. Really? Is that true? Oh, so he's the first musician. I thought I was going to say he's the first ever person, because I'm sure I've seen collaborations with Comme des Garçons before, or Comme des Garçons shirt at least anyway. But that's still a hell of an achievement, so big up to ASAP Nast. It continues and says the collection comprises of 12 styles across t-shirts, cardigans and shirts. The designs prominently feature ASAP Nast's logo, graphics, drawing inspiration from his forthcoming album, aptly titled 90s Era Nasty. Well, that's cool to know. I didn't know he's making music. Sick. So Nast is coming back with some music, so we're going to get some music from him soon, which I'm happy for, because I've long believed that ASAP Nast is the best actual rapper in that group. It's very controversial, but I would say ASAP Nast and 12 are probably better rappers than ASAP Rocky, in my personal opinion. It's a very controversial one. No one probably agrees, but those guys, you know, their careers didn't really go the way they maybe wanted them in terms of music, and they kind of gave up or whatever, or moved into other things. But when he does do music, I think he's really good. He's just been focused on other stuff, so it's cool to see him putting out an album. I'm really excited for that one. He's also often seen at fashion shows with Ray Kawakubo during Paris Fashion Week. This collaboration can be seen as a real yet natural progression for his relationship with the iconic label, allowing him to imprint his own creative vision onto the pieces from the brand he deeply respects. So yeah, this should be good. This should be good. Amazing. Congratulations to ASAP Nast. I saw a video of him, you know, having a celebration dinner for the release of this, and ASAP Rocky giving a really heartfelt sort of like salute and toast to him, which must be cool. If you're Rocky, to still see your friends still thriving, doing their thing without you on their own, they must feel super, super proud for it, that everybody in that crew is still kind of smashing it and doing bits and bobs. So big up ASAP Nast. Great to fucking see Comme des Garçons collaboration capsule collection thingy. Looks fucking absolutely sick. Another thing that looks sick that I wasn't really too fond of in the beginning is this Concrete Boys and PDF collaboration. PDF have probably one of the most unfortunate brand names ever, and I think I spoke about PDF's I think Milan Fashion Week debut, and I wasn't too fond of it. I felt a lot of the designs or the sensibilities, the aesthetic in general was kind of taking a piss. It was kind of like, you know, it was this weird I don't know, caricature of black people or something. I don't know. It just felt a little bit disingenuous. It felt a little bit insulting. It felt weird. It's just strange. Anyway, but over time, my stance on PDF has kind of softened. I feel like he's doing something very unique in the space. He's offering these very exaggerated 90s, early 2000s baggy hip-hop inspired silhouettes and aesthetics that you can't really get anywhere else. He's obviously doing it at that kind of high fashion-y level, and people seem to love it. And I also love the fact that he's got a very specific opinion and point of view when it comes to footwear. You know, the designs that they do those really kind of massive, almost, you know, alien boot wearing looking wise Timberland flips and shit, and other types of boots that I've seen people like Drake are big fans of, and whatever it may be. And I like him. I wouldn't personally wear them for myself, but I love the whole silhouette and what they kind of do. So I like that he's trying to do something completely different and not try and go for the tried and tested shitty stuff he does out there. And this collaboration, this little capsule collection they did with Lil Yachty's Concrete Boys is really good as well. The shirts are really cool. The shirts again kind of remind me of like old academics, That was used to be a brand that used to make tracksuits and FUBU type of stuff. With how they've done the applique here of the screen print, like all of this stuff is bulb. Like look at this. This is really high quality stuff. The print on the screen print on the t-shirt is all nice and bobbly and thick and shit, two-tone colors like this, and even the cut on the shirt itself, the length of the sleeves, it's really fucking cool looking. This leather jacket with a hood on it looks amazing, with the matching jeans and the matching pants and the trousers. Like, it's so fucking good. One of my favorite things I've seen from them do together, I'm not going to lie. He's also got this hat here, this camo hat that features these badges that go all over it. I think that's the guy that owns it or co-founded the brand itself. And obviously you got the Concrete Boys logo there, which is also really pretty cool. Like, I like it, man. It's really, and even this tracksuit is really cool too. This, I think it says PCB, and it's got the Concrete Boys logo, and then it's got concrete written on the side of the fucking sweatpants. And I think he's also wearing a pair of the PDF Timberland inspired boots that he also does. But I love it. I love the aesthetic. I love what they're doing, what he's going with it as well. And it obviously matches a lot with Concrete Boys and Lil Yachty in general, because they love that whole 90s, early 2000s aesthetic anyway, in terms of everything being baggy and boxy in terms of the fit and stuff. But it looks really fucking cool. I like all of it. And in particular, I'm starting to warm to the shoes. The shoes look very cartoony, but I'm starting to warm to the shoes, because you can't really buy anything like this from anywhere else, you know? This type of, obviously the silhouette kind of inspires me for Timberland, but the over exaggerated nature of it, like look how skinny Lil Yachty's leg looks in that boot. It looks so big and clunky, but they also look really soft and comfortable to wear and shit. But yeah, I quite like them. I quite like what he's doing there. It looks fucking really cool. What does it say in the back there? Is that called Siamo knot or something? Simo knot? I'm not sure what it says there. And there's also a nice logo down the front as well. But it's a pretty cool collaboration, courtesy of PDF and Concrete Boys. I'm not too sure if it's currently available now. Let's actually check the blurb. It's available now on Friday the 9th already, so it should have dropped. It says here, after starring in the PDF's fall winter campaign, the Concrete Boys have reunited with Domenico for Machete-led label for a collaborative capsule collection. PDF took to Instagram Wednesday to share the line's official campaign, which stars Concrete Boys member Camo and Lil Yachty. The line includes t-shirts emblazoned with the group's iconography, baggy denim trousers, the same emblem leather jackets, and reading Progetto, Italian for project, among other silhouettes as well. So yeah, pretty cool. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. My favorite look is definitely this. This is definitely my favorite look. This leather. I'm not sure if is it leather or is it maybe it's a parachute material. I'm not too sure what the material is on this jacket, but the webbing, the concrete sort of design webbing here of the on the waistband, the design here, the applique as well, and the words on the front of the jacket, really fucking cool. The cut of the pants, really nice. You absolutely smashed it. So big up PDF and big up Blood Clot Concrete. Big up PDF and big up Blood Clot Concrete. Continuing on, let's talk a little bit as well about No Problemo, collaboration courtesy of Specs. No Problemo is the offshoot brand of what's it called, Aries. I'm sure some of you guys are aware of. So let's check out the blurb. It says Specs and No Problemo have come together for a special lineup of retro shades just in time for the sunnier days. The spring 2025 Australian eyewear purveyor and Aries sub-label lean into the expressive silhouettes, from athletic wraparound style glasses to chunky square acetate frames. There's 4 models available. The colorways are Pluto, Cyborg, Vortex and Black Pool. So let's actually see what they've got available here in terms of these No Problemo sunglasses coming up. A lot of these styles are going to be all over the fucking places when it comes to festivals. I'm not the biggest fan of the where the logo is, I'm not going to lie. Having that No Problemo logo on the bridge, I'm not too big on that, but the shapes of the glasses are really fucking cool. I'm not mad at the shapes of it. There's a lot of like sportswear inspired looking shapes in terms of wraparound ones for running. There's nice chunky ones as well that look really cool at the beach and shit. I like some of the colors of the frames and the lenses themselves. Really nice looking. Maybe a little bit too small for my gigantic head in terms of the lens size. Especially even on these models, you can tell the lenses themselves look kind of small, innit? look kind of mager. Maybe that's what kids like nowadays, but a little bit too small maybe for my frame of my head. But I do like some of these shapes and silhouettes that are available. So big up No Problemo, big up the Specs. And these are due to drop when? They already dropped yesterday, May 8th as well, on their online store. So definitely go check them out if you're that way inclined. Definitely go check them out if you're that way inclined. We've also got this news courtesy of Hypebeast regarding Ronnie Faye presents his New Balance ABZORB 2010 collaboration. This is an update courtesy of Ronnie Faye. 2010 was a formative year, one that saw him launch Kith. Obsessed with footwear design at the time, he was excited to bring a new energy to the space. 15 years later, he's teamed up with New Balance to celebrate the opening of Kith's Manhattan flagship store, assembling 2 takes of the brand's new ABZORB 2010 sneaker. He's made an effort to restore the feeling of the blog era by unarchiving his old website, where he shared new posts detailing the project's inspiration, offering behind-the-scenes shoots and retail versions of the colorways that can be spotted below, which we described previously as well. One detail that we missed originally is how Kith monogram is spread across the midfoot on the end logos. They're meant to be dropping on May 16th. So I think I saw this picture originally of this particular pair, and I was really fucking fond of them. Makeup, you got this nice purple. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Foot Patrol stab that they did back in the day, but the mixture of the colors is really nice. You got a nice mix of purple and blue and black. I also love the fact that, because I'm not the biggest fan of black midsoles, especially when you've got nice colorful uppers, it can kind of make the shoe look a bit weird. So you have to kind of get it right to kind of make it look right. But I think it works really well here with this black midsole and darker bits. I'm not sure if this black is here around the toe box, but you got this nice mix of purples, suede and mesh material here. The logo itself is gray. What laces are kind of this off-white ivory color, but it all seems to tie in together, even though you got this random blue pop here at the back of the heel that kind of doesn't make no sense, but it all sort of ties in and works really well together. So I'm not mad at those in the slightest. They look really, really nice. And then there's also a black pair as well that features this mostly black upper with some yellow accents, and then on the heel tab you've got purple and pink. I think this combination of colors is actually really nice as well. The yellow, the black, the pink, and the purple looks pretty cool, and obviously comes with matching black laces as well. But really, really hard, really, really cool. So this is the model. It's called a New Balance ABZORB 2010. Not sure if this is a retro. I guess this is a retro. I don't think this is a new design. I'm assuming it's a retro. I'm assuming it's likely a retro. But let's check more pictures here, courtesy of Hypebeast, so we can get a better idea. So yeah, the purple pair is definitely. Oh, it comes with a version that has a white midsole. So how many versions are there? There's 1, 2. I guess there's 1, 2, 3 different versions, because there's, or maybe you can clip some of these things on this bottom. I don't really know what's going on here, but the colorways are really nice. I think there's different versions, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, different colored versions, but the purple ones are still my favorites, especially this one here with the mix of the white mesh on the toe box. That also might be a favorite of mine there. That colorway right here, that is banging. Look at that. It's got this nice mix of purple. You got nubuck here. It looks like a little bit more of a suede or a leather, and then you've got whatever material. Oh, you got Kith. Wow, you got the Kith stamp on the inside of the New Balance. That's really nice. I mean, it's a nice little flip there. I like that. I've not seen that before. You've got this nice Kith pattern on the inside of the end of the New Balance on the outside of the left. That's really, really nice. So this is a cool collab. I'm sure this is going to end up selling out when they eventually drop as well. So how many styles is that? These are different models, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different styles with slight variations on them. And I like the 3M hit at the front of the toe box on all of them as well. That pops off really fucking cool. But yeah, really nice shoe. ABZORB from Kith. Probably going to be dropping when? May 16th allegedly. May 16th allegedly. No idea on the date or how much it's going to be actually, but May 16th allegedly. And I think, as Kith usually do with their retail stores, they're probably going to have this is probably going to be a Kith Manhattan. Yeah, it's probably going to be a Kith Manhattan exclusive to purchase, but they are really fucking cool. So I recommend you definitely give them a try and a look if you do eventually end up seeing them. And then lastly, I also wanted to mention this Awake the Awake Air Jordan 5s. that are due to be coming out very soon as well, August 30th actually. There's another colorway that's been debuted, which is this black. Is it a black or blue? What's the upper? They're saying it's a black, racer blue, metallic silver and white. Originally, the first colorway that we were exposed to when it comes to Awake and this Jordan 5 collaboration was this pink colorway, right? In my opinion, maybe one of the more interesting, exciting ways to kind of do a Jordan 5 collab. Jordan 5s in general are pretty hard to get right. I think the only ones that I've seen in recent years that have really killed it is it Amamanier and obviously Off-White. I think they did really cool collaborations when it comes to Jordan 5s, but they're a pretty hard shoe to wear, and they're also a hard shoe to kind of get right when you're collabing with them in general. But I think this Awake version is pretty cool, especially with this cutout on the side. I've never seen a Jordan 5 have a cutout, especially with this, you know, letter on the side. That's such a cool little look, and it exposes some of that kind of mesh window thing going on the side of a Jordan 5. One of the best kind of design features of the shoe itself. And obviously on this particular model, I think her name is Suki, right? Yes, Suki. That was the girl that was featured on the cover of the Drake album at one time. She's obviously got really small feet as well, so she makes them look extra hard. I'm sure they won't look like that on my feet, but you can tell they look really cool, and the colorway is very unique. You wouldn't necessarily get that particular colorway on the Jordan 5 any other way. So these are definitely a shoe that I would definitely have on my list to try to purchase. Oh look, the A is also on the inside. That's really cool. I thought it's just on the outside of the shoe, but the little A cutout is also featured on the outside and the inside of the shoe itself. But a really cool design. And obviously, as I mentioned previously, they've now leaked a second colorway. I'm not sure if there's going to be more. Maybe there's going to be 4, who knows. But so far, we've got 2 colorways. We've got them in pink, and we've also got them available in this black, blue type of colorway with contrasting stitches. I think the pink is definitely my favorite, though. I think that's the real standout one. That pink colorway is the fucking hardest standout one in general. I don't think you can go wrong with this pink one. Pink one's too tough. Too tough. But the black is also pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't too bad at the black, but I think the pink is definitely my favorite. So I guess keep an eye out for that when they eventually do drop. Keep an eye out for that when they eventually do drop. Anyways, my friends, that has been the Agostino Zinga Show episode number 903, day number 3 of the marathon. Obviously, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company and always have your time. We're trying to hit 500 members for this particular channel, so make sure you smash the join button down below. There should be a link to click there to become a member. Make sure you do that if you're watching on the YouTube side of things. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you listen to it via the podcast side of things, you'll be hearing my tune of the day playing underneath my voice. Today I'm playing Justin Timberlake as my song of the day. It'll be Justin Timberlake, Fucking Up the Disco, from his recent album that came out last year. For some reason, I think that this album didn't really get a lot of recognition. I think it's called Everything I Thought I Was. Everything I Thought It Was. Really good album by Justin Timberlake. He had a bit of a stumble. He had that one about the man in the woods that was fucking terrible. But I thought this album called Everything I Thought It Was that released last year was really good, but it didn't get a lot of love. It didn't get a lot of appreciation. Maybe because Justin Timberlake's on a bit of a downward turn now. But this album is fucking hard. It's really good. It kind of reminds me of like, vintage kind of Justin Timberlake era when he was doing stuff like, what was that album called? Future Sex, Lover, Disco, whatever that fucking album was called and shit. It's got a real nice poppy, funky, disco-y vibe to it. Loads of really cool songs. I think it's like 18 tracks long or something, and the first half is a banger, and I really recommend you check it out. But my song of the day will be Fuck Up the Disco, courtesy of Justin Timberlake. And for those of you watching live, it will redirect you to the random show, and I'll see you guys there in a bit. But thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, never a chore. Thank you for joining to Agostino Zinga Show episode number 903, and I'll see you guys again very soon. But for now, take care. Peace.